What's going on, guys? Once again, welcome back to the channel, and today I want to talk a little bit about my CQ12 by Alan and Heath. Let's get into it. What's going on, guys? Coach Scott King here. I run a DJ company in Orlando, Florida, djsorlando.com, and I've been able to grow my business year after year after year from the techniques that I learned in NLP and hypnosis. And if that's something that you're interested in, make sure to go to www.coachscottking.com and learn more about it. Today, I want to talk a little bit about my CQ12. So there's not a lot of videos out there. The few videos that I did see got me super excited, so I ended up ordering it. Well, I put it on a few events, and here's my review. Some good, some bad. Let's get into it. So basically, let's go ahead and switch the screen right here. Alrighty, guys, over here on the opening screen, and I just want to show you that I have it set and recording to USB because I did a little bit of, messing around inside the studio in order to get this right. And I wanted to make sure that I had a backup of the audio recording so I wouldn't have to go back and record it. But basically, the USB is here, and then you just format it with inside the CQ12, and then you're off to the races. Actually saved me at one of my weddings because I ended up recording it, and the photographer hit me up later, or the videographer, and they wanted, the recording that I had from inside the CQ12, because you can record tracks individually or you can just record the master out. And I just decided to record the out that I sent to it. So you could, if you wanted to, you could record each track and then mix it down later if you were recording a band or something like that. I haven't actually used that feature yet, but I hear it's a blast. All right, so the first thing that you'd want to look at is the configure screen, and then you would go to your inputs, and then you have your gain here. You could do an auto gain. You could send phantom power to one channel if you had a microphone that needed the phantom power. And then on the way I have it configured here, if you go to faders, I have my dual channel already set, so the computer is coming out of here left and right, and then I just made it a dual channel, and then the microphone that I'm talking on now is the channel number 3. So when you go back to your configure, you can see channels number 3, and then of course I fed output to mix 1 into the sound card of the computer, so it's being recorded over there. So you can see the fader over here is off so that I don't have a feedback loop. So with that in mind, let's go back to processing, because that's always fun as well. So the thing to understand here is that every time you have a screen, they only have so many faders on the screen. So you really got to know where you are and what you're controlling while you're doing it. And this is like my 10th time recording it, and I've hit the wrong screen, I don't know, 100 times. So, but we're all here learning, and this gives me more experience as well. So, so since I'm on the processing, right, I can go to, if I wanted to do a compression, I could put a compression on it. I don't really need it for what we're doing now. And then you have inline EQ for each channel. So basic audio, high pass filter, or low cut, right? So you would click this, and then you could, play around with how much of a low cut you have. I'll use this hand so you can see that my bass is being cut as I'm playing around with it. And this is kind of important because when you start dealing with multiple microphones, you don't want extra frequencies in there, and you get a ring and you're like, oh, where is that coming from? And you can also see there's an RTA right here that kind of tells you what frequencies are being used the most. So the main thing that I ran into, right, was the processing and being able to ring out microphones, because I have a lapel microphone that just gives me a headache like you wouldn't believe. So I actually hired an audio tech. He came over and tried a few things. Now, the way the ringing out the microphone works, see, every time I hit the output, it brings me to outputs number 1, which is not what I'm going to cover at this second. So because when I was figuring out a quick fix to ringing out microphones, you could do the feedback assist, and I did it on the master output. Now, you can probably, imagine what the complications are with that. Basically, if you're going to feed out a microphone, you're taking out frequencies from the microphone. But if you do it on the master, it also takes the frequencies out of anything else that comes through the master. So that I found kind of annoying. In fact, I called a bunch of people to try and figure out why Alan and Heath would do something quite like that, because the lapel microphone I had was just giving me so much feedback, even when I had a bunch of frequency feedback filters already in place, and I used the assist. So when you go to the processing, you go to, your feedback assist. So this is basically on the master, and what you want to do is when you see it, the hold will be on. You want to take the hold off and then put it on, fixed, and then get that microphone to feedback as much as possible, and then it will put a whole bunch of different notch filters inside of the mix. So this was just a quick fix for me when I was doing a wedding or something like that, and I didn't know how to just do the output of just the microphone. So basically what you want to do is, well, before we get off that, let's just talk about this. You have your EQ in line on the master as well. So this all just kind of depends on the room and what you're doing and what's going on. I wasn't a fan of using the master to kind of ring out microphones. It did get me through my gigs, and basically for ceremonies it's just talking and light music as well, so it wasn't that big of a deal. And if you wanted a better way to ring out just microphone, so if you had a microphone plugged into channel number 1 and then you took it all the way down and then you hit your sends and go all the way to number 1, you can see it's still coming up here. So 1, 2, and 3 is not being sent to the output. 1, 2, and 3 is being sent to mix number 1, and then you would take, right, mix number 1's right here, and then you would take it and plug it in right here to channel number 6, right? And then we go back to outputs, channel number 6 sent to output number 1, which is output number 1, and then now you have your RTA for the microphones and your feedback assist just for the outputs. So basically, again, follow me, 1, 2, 3 being sent here, loops backed over here, and then being over here for your feedback assist, and that doesn't touch the music because you're not playing with the main outs. Very important to understand. All right, with that aside, let's go ahead and just, again, I'll cover just a few things, right? You have your gain assist, you have your names, your colors, your library. If you wanted to invert polarity, you could do that as well. Again, you got your outputs, and you can control how those go. And then, again, it's learning how to navigate the screens and understanding how it works. So you might want to play around with this a little bit at the studio before you bring it back to a show, because knowing and how to navigate the screens is super, super important. Hey guys, if you found that interesting, make sure to join us on the Facebook group, www.coachscottking.com.